Look, my friends, let's give some tzedakah, let's give it together, and Be'ezras Hashem, we will merit all the blessings that tzedakah gives. Third pillar, Torah. Vaychi, parsha of this week, Vaychi, and he lived. Seemingly discussing the life of Yaakov, but really we're talking over here about the passing of Yaakov. Why is it called Vayechi and he lived? Let's come back to it in a moment. But here is an interesting Bala Turim, and it says the following. The pasuk says, Vayechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim shva'esrei shana. Yaakov lived in Egypt for 17 years. 17, says the Bala Turim, corresponds to the Hebrew word of toiv. Toiv, good. Yom Tov, a good day. May God help this should become already the Yom Tov, the ultimate Yom Tov. Good. Tov is spelled Tes, Vav, Beis, corresponds to 17. Says the Balaturim, the best years of Yaakov's life were those 17 years that he spent in Egypt, when his whole family was together with him in Egypt, including Yosef and the grandsons Ephraim and Menashe. Those were his best years. A further thought, he says, Vayechi corresponds to 34. Obviously, twice 17. This also refers again to his relationship with Yosef. The first 17 years that Yosef was at home with him, where he raised him, and then as we know, at the age of 17, he was sold into slavery, and the rest is history. So the 17 years that Yosef was with his father prior to his abduction, and then the 17 years where he reunited with him in Egypt, these were the 34 years, twice Tov, twice 17, his ultimate good years. But this deserves a little attention. In Egypt was his best years. Better than when he was with his father Yitzchak. Better than when he even met his grandfather Avraham Avinu. Not only Avraham Avinu, he even met Shem. Because Shem died in the year 2,150 years after creation. So he had an opportunity still to see Shem, son of Noach. He heard from him the whole story of the flood. And then later on he was with his grandson Ever. And Yaakov was learning in their yeshiva. Best life of a person is when the time is in yeshiva. Idyllic moment. No worries, no problems, just sitting and studying Torah. What can there be better than this blissful moment? Egypt, which is Ervas Haaretz, the corruption of the world, the impurity of the world. It says 49 gates of impurity is where Egypt had sunk. This is what we can say are his best moments. But the answer is in the further pasuk. It says later on that Yaakov conferred on his two grandchildren, Yosef's children, Ephraim and Menashe, the same level, Lihem, they're my children. He made them into part of the 12 tribes. Why did they deserve that special status? And the answer is Yaakov saw something here that he didn't see before. Those children were born into Egyptian royalty, raised within the palaces of Egypt. Obviously had to be involved in Egyptian culture and lifestyle and society, the haute society, the high society of Egypt. Father is viceroy. Father is in charge of everything. They all depend on him. The whole Middle East, the whole world depended on Yosef to be taking care of them. In fact, when the brothers came to Yosef, Ephraim and Menashe was there. They didn't recognize him. They thought they were two Egyptian people. Yet, says Yaakov, they were raised like my own children, even in such an adverse environment as Egypt, that has all the trimmings to make sure that they should be Egyptians. Yet they are tzaddikim, they're righteous, they're holy like my own children. Says Yaakov, this is my best time. When I see that even in exile, and Yaakov was quite aware that this exile is starting, that even in exile, his children will be his children. This is his best life. Now this explains also what the Talmud says, Yaakov lo meis. Yaakov didn't die. Why? Mazaro b'chaim afu b'chaim. Just like his children are alive, so is he alive. Obviously this has many, many explanations, but a very simple one. Yaakov continues to be alive through his children. When we live in Yaakov's lifestyle, Yaakov is alive. Although, I should emphasize, the Talmud says that he's alive in the physical sense, he's present, whatever that means. But Vayechi, Yaakov is eternally alive through us. And that's the end of the book of Bereshit. Chazak, chazak. We have to strengthen ourselves in this dimension of life. This is what brings Mashiach.